Hello, I'm Melody Colbert-Keene. I'm the owner of Me's Place Soul Food Kitchen here in Joplin, Missouri. I'm also the co-host of the Colbert Connection, which is on Facebook Live. And I'm the former mayor of Joplin, Missouri of 2012 to 2014, also on the City Council. I'm here to welcome you to the Eleanor Roosevelt Day celebration. This is the premier function of the Southwest Missouri Democrats, and you will hear from our statewide candidates that are hoping to get your vote for their seats. I hope that you will sit back, have a good time, interact with what we're going to be doing, because this is our first ever virtual function. So bear with us, but also join in, and this will be an interactive experience for you. Up first, we're going to have a welcome from Krista Stark, who is the Southwest Missouri Democrats Executive Director. She will give you an official welcome and kick off the Eleanor Roosevelt Days.
My name is Krista Stark. I'm the Executive Director for Southwest Missouri Democrats, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the very first ever digital Eleanor Roosevelt Days.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Shepard.
Lift every voice and sing till the heaven ring with the harmony of liberty, rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as a rolling sea.
Next, you're going to hear from Crystal Quaid, who is the Missouri House Minority Leader representing the 132nd Legislative District in Springfield.
Hello, Southwest Missouri Democrats. While this is obviously a little bit different, it is truly an honor to be included in your event this year. While thinking about Eleanor Roosevelt, there is not a better quote for 2020 than "Do what you feel in your heart to be right, for you'll be criticized anyway." And that is what I love about the Southwest Missouri Democrats. We know that no matter what we do, we're going to be criticized. But you also know more than anyone how important it is that we stay present, vigilant, and doing what we know is right. And those principles are why I am so excited to be able to introduce you to your candidates who are running for the Missouri House of Representatives this year. People who truly know the importance of Democrats being present in every corner of Missouri. First, we have Brenda McKinney, who's running in House District 158. Brenda lives in Berry County and has been campaigning hard. She's showing folks in Berry how to take this virus seriously while also ensuring that Team Blue has a voice everywhere. Angela Thomas in House District 160. This district is in Newton County, and if you may not know, Angela is currently a city council member and the mayor pro tem. When COVID numbers started to rise in her community, she jumped right in as a leader should and encouraged her city to practice responsible behaviors. Angela ran in 2018 and is at it again because she knows that her opponent is far too extreme for Newton County and for the state of Missouri. Josh Shackles in House District 161, which contains Joplin, with voters from both Newton and Jasper counties. Josh has been a voice for positive change in the community for a really long time. He speaks at city council, and he gives his skills of production work for local equity efforts, including the Southwest Missouri Democrats, and civic-minded community broadcasting like Colbert Connection have been invaluable during the COVID crisis. As a local small business owner, Josh has always made time for community activism, and his involvement ranges from historic preservation service on the Joplin Little Theater Board to service on the Joplin Elks Lodge. Erin Haley, who is running in House District 163, Aaron is a physical therapist assistant, and it is his work in healthcare as well as that of his fiance, who's a nurse, that drove his run. Aaron was an alderman for the city of Aranago until he moved to Carthage, and I am sorry if I said that name wrong. Aaron and his wife both know how important healthcare is to the community, especially now more than ever, and having that institutional knowledge about how important this crisis really is so important right now for the state. All of these candidates are selfless and brave. They know how important it is that we have strong and capable Democratic voices in these communities. We cannot win if we don't run. And when we present strong candidates like these, it not only helps our communities, but it helps get folks like Nicole Galloway into the governor's mansion. I am so thankful for their sacrifice. I cannot convey that enough, that we need you, and thank you for jumping in and stepping up. And I hope that you all have a great rest of your event. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Brenda McKinney. I am a native Missourian. I was born in St. Louis. I've lived in District 158, Berry County, for the last 30 years. I am running for the House of Representatives to give people of Berry County a choice besides just a Republican, and also an opportunity to increase the representation of women in the House of Representatives, which is sorely underrepresented today.
I'm Angela Thomas, and I'm running for state representative in District 160. For decades, Republican candidates have run unopposed in District 160. I'm running to offer a choice. We need to work for a stronger economy. We need to work for affordable health care for everyone, a fully funded public school system, infrastructure improvements, and for support for our family farms and ranches. We cannot afford to continue with politics as usual, with legislation that has no support for our district, but legislation that pushes personal preferences above the growth and strengthening of our economy. The Missouri state motto is "The welfare of the people shall be supreme law." Our state government should care more about Missourians than special interests. This is how you love your neighbor.
Hello and good evening, Southwest Missouri Democrats. My name is Joshua Shackles, and I am a candidate for state representative in Missouri House District 161. I hope that you're all enjoying our digital production of Eleanor Roosevelt Days. I know we had a great time making it for you. My favorite Eleanor Roosevelt quote is, "Learn from the mistakes of others. You don't live long enough to make them all yourself." We only have a few days left before the big election in November, and I would like to take this opportunity to remind you all to vote no on 3. Amendment 3 undermines the will of the people, decreases representation for Missourians, and would allow for the worst gerrymandering in the United States. State-level elections are very important, especially this time around, because decisions made inside of our state will affect schools, jobs, healthcare, and almost every other aspect of our lives. So thank you very much for voting, and thank you for voting blue.
Hi, my name is Aaron Haley, and I'm your Democratic candidate for Missouri's 163rd House seat. When elected and sent to Jefferson City, I will make it a priority to bring high-quality, high-paying jobs to the 163rd. These jobs will help improve the standard of living of all of our citizens, give us a broader tax base of support, and enable us to do many more things that which we are currently unable to do. Thank you for your support.
And we want to welcome Krista Stark, who is the Executive Director of the Southwest Missouri Democrats for over 7 years. And she's going to talk about the effort that Team Blue has had. It's called Signs Across Southwest Missouri. So Krista, tell us, what is Signs Across Southwest Missouri? Explain that to us.
Well, this year, people really want yard signs, Melody.
Okay.
And when I say they really want yard signs, I mean we are getting hundreds of calls and text messages about yard signs.
Okay.
So the Missouri Democratic Party printed us these lovely signs that you see here, Biden, Harris, Galloway voter signs, so that they will be signs for both the presidential race as well as the gubernatorial race. And we had them delivered on Friday. right over here on Virginia Street at a pop-up location. We had 150 folks show up on Friday to pick up yard signs.
Wow, that's a good turnout.
That was a very good turnout for Joplin, yes. And this is, these signs are for a 6-county area, but we've put out 300 yard signs in 48 hours. We've put out close to 70 of these 4x4s. We got 5 4x8s out on highways. Okay. We've also put out several signs for many of the other campaigns, like Yinka Folity for Secretary of State, Alicia Kennedy for Lieutenant Governor, as well as Vicki England for State Treasurer. Several of our House candidates have yard signs. If people would like to have a yard sign, we still have some left.
So if they want to get involved, this is the way to get it done. Get a hold of Krista so she can get you a sign for your location.
Text me at 417-437-8443. Let me know your name, your city location, and that you want a yard sign. And we will text you back the address and a picture of the porch where you can do a contactless pickup for your yard sign.
That's good.
Yes. In the times of COVID, we've had to change our operations.
I understand that. Yeah. Everything's adaptable nowadays.
We can't run out of the laborers hall where we would normally run signs out of. So we have some gracious volunteers who have volunteered their porches. We're using my porch in Webb City as the distribution center, but it's also a contactless pickup location.
Okay.
And so if you live in any of our Southwest Missouri Democrats counties, which is Jasper, Newton, McDonald, Dade, Lawrence, and Barry, you can text me at that number and I will direct you to where you can pick up your sign, or in some of our other counties, you're directed to another number to call for the chair and they arrange to give you a sign or to deliver a sign.
Okay, so that's how you get you a sign if you want one.
We got contactless locations in Joplin, Carthage, Webb City, Carl Junction, and then several out amongst our other counties.
Okay. So tell me about the sign, this mask we got going on. What do we got going on here?
So, the debates are on everybody's mind, right? And when we watch the presidential debate, I don't think I've ever seen anybody interrupt so much.
Man.
I mean, I know I taught my kids not to interrupt. It's not polite, right? I'm sure that you tell Alyssa the same thing, right?
Yes.
So we watched that debate and we thought, well, it's President Trump. We'll get to the VP debate and it'll have a little bit more of an even-keeled style, right? But what we found out is that Vice President Pence really likes to interrupt too. and when you continually interrupt a black woman and make her reclaim her time, there seems to be something very inequitable about that. So we kind of wanted to highlight the fact that we feel like it's important for our public servants and our leaders to have good manners and to be civil with each other. It's fine to drive home points and make hard arguments, but if the only way that you can facilitate in a debate is to interrupt your opponent and make sure that the country cannot hear from them, then you might have something to hide.
And you see, this is how, when she was talking, I was silent. That is how you do it.
That's right.
But yeah, I get that, yeah.
An exchange of ideas.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, that's what we're looking for in a debate, is an exchange of ideas.
And I like to call them, let's have a discussion, because then I can hear your side, you can hear my side, and, we may not agree, but we're being civil. I mean, that's what's lost now. It's a lot of civility that has been lost in this presidential election term.
But that's just Democrats, right? That's how we were raised.
Yeah.
We were raised to be civil. Yeah. We were raised to listen to each other, to hear each other out. Yeah. And we have come to a very polarized time in our nation, but there is the ability to get back to civility and to have conversations. And we do want for the constituents to be able to hear the arguments from people that are trying to serve them. And debates are important, but we just kind of wanted to highlight the fact that we feel like there might be a little bit more civility on this side than there is on the other side of the aisle right now. And probably the people viewing us tonight notice those things as well when they watch the debates.
Okay, well, it sounds like the Southwest Missouri Democrats are busy doing a lot to help get people out to vote, which is a good thing. And like I said before, if you want to get involved, get on the Southwest Missouri Democrats website, and they'll be able to plug you in so you can get connected and get out that vote.
You can find us on Facebook at Southwest Missouri Democrats. You can find us on Twitter at SWMO Dems. Our website is southwestmissouriDemocrats.com, and you can also text me at 417-437-8443, and not just if you want to sign, but if you want to volunteer. If you would like to go help deliver signs to folks that have had their signs stolen, please let me know. We have an opportunity for you to help out with that. If you would like to phone bank to try to help get Nicole Galloway elected and show the state of Missouri that a woman's place is in the Missouri governor's office, text me at that number and we can get you connected with COVID-safe phone banking from home. We're so excited to have you with us tonight at our yearly banquet, but we also know that with only just over 20 days until the election, we need to work hard. So, and by the time we get to Friday night's event, we're going to have less than 20 days left before this election. And so we need to work hard every single day between now and November 3rd. If you have requested a mail-in ballot or you are going to absentee vote and you have questions, please also see our Facebook page that has voting guidance for that. If you have any questions about your vote, you can also call me at that 417-437-8443. That phone rings all day. And that's the way we like it, right before an election.
Well, thank you, Krista, for all that information to help get the vote out for the Team Blue. Yeah. And we just look forward to hearing more from you later on in the program.
All right. Southwest Missouri Democrats, Team Blue, Eleanor Roosevelt once said that it takes more energy to wish than it does to plan. So we're going to plan to win on November 3rd, and we're going to try to have a bluer wave for Missouri this year.
And you can plan, but planning is nothing unless you have action. Get out and vote.
Get out and vote.
Coming up, we have Vicki England, who served in Bill Clinton's Small Business Administration. She wrote legislation and monitored bills on behalf of small business owners. Vicki saw firsthand how small business owners are affected by government policies. When she moved back to St. Louis, she accepted a position with the St. Louis County Economic Council, and she served as South County Sector Specialist from 2001 to 2004. In 2002, Vicki was recognized by the St. Louis Business Journal as a 30 Under 30 award winner. Next, we have Vicki.
Hello, Southwest Missouri Dems. My name is Vicki England, and I'm your Democratic nominee for Missouri State Treasurer. I'm so excited to have been invited to be a part of your Eleanor Roosevelt celebration. She's actually a personal hero of mine, or Shiro, I guess is the correct term nowadays. My daughter is actually named Eleanor after her. So just wanted to stop by and thank you so much for getting together today. You know, we are really living through, the word that everybody keeps using is unprecedented times. And so one of the things that we're working really hard here on the Vicki England for Treasurer campaign is making sure that we reach all parts of the state with our message. And our message is that we can get Missouri's economy back on track. We just need a state treasurer who has the experience, the leadership, and the passion to get the job done. And I know you're used to hearing that from a lot of politicians and candidates, but what I can tell you about this race is it's extremely different than what we've seen in the past. You know, not many people know a lot about the state treasurer's race. The state treasurer is typically considered to be the CFO of the state, and so one of the things that I plan to do as CFO of the state is to work hard to get our economy back on track. Just like I did when I worked for the Clinton administration at the SBA, I helped businesses in the Office of Women's Business Ownership get started up and thrive. I then moved back to St. Louis, where I'm from originally, and worked with the St. Louis County Economic Council before, during, and after 9/11. So we had a lot of work to do then, just like we will have right now. I'm a former legislator from South St. Louis County, and I think one of the things that I like to tell people about my history will tell you exactly the type of leader that I am and will be. I was first elected back in 2008. We flipped that seat from Republican to Democrat that year, and the woman that I beat in 2008, she beat me in 2010. I beat her in 2012. She beat me in 2014. And I came about 400 votes shy of winning in 2016. In the middle of all that, I was redistricted out of my own district, and also served on the Lindbergh School Board for 6 years, and the last couple of years as its treasurer. So my experience is deep and also very specific to the types of skills that the next treasurer needs. But in addition to working hard to have targeted small business loans to women and minority-owned businesses who have been hit hardest by COVID-19, I also plan to bring entrepreneurialism to the Treasurer's office. I want business owners to come to the Treasurer's website, find out ways that they can improve their business, bring their business online like I did with my business that I've been online for the past 20 years. So I have that experience to help small business owners. And one of the underlying reasons that I'm running for office is because we need to rebuild the Democratic Party. I don't have to tell you guys how difficult it is to find candidates to fit the districts and then support them with money to run their office and their campaign. And that's what I'm doing right now. With my background, I only know how to win in Republican areas. I also know how to lose in Republican areas. So my focus is already working to recruit candidates to run in the House and the Senate for Missouri so that we can begin that long process of rebuilding the Democratic Party. We need to take the momentum that we're going to see this year, carry that through, and have a long-term plan. I've tried to recruit candidates before. I know how difficult it is, but I'm already starting to recruit candidates for 2022, and I just got tired of nobody else doing that. So that's one of the main reasons I'm running to be your state treasurer, is because we need to start that process. When we have Governor Nicole Galloway, it would really help out if she had more people in the state legislature to help promote and pass her agenda. So that's a long-term process. The short term, as you know, is just working hard to make sure that Missourians stay safe and healthy. And since you are watching this video, I know that you are staying safe and healthy. And I want to thank you for doing that. You know, not all the parts of our state are on board with that. And that's also one of the reasons why we just have to keep reaching out to as many people as we can. One of the last things I'll say as far as the state treasurer's office, you know, we also have a great opportunity to promote diversity in state government. The treasurer's office only has 45 employees. Of those 45, there are 3 minorities, 1 African American and 2 Hispanic people. And the last time I checked, that's not what our state looked like. So my commitment is to not only bring more diversity to the office, but also to review the policies of the companies that we currently invest in. One of the treasurer's roles is to invest your taxpayer dollars into businesses so that we can grow Missouri's revenue before the governor and the legislature spend that money. So we need to look at corporate diversity statements before doing that, and I know our current treasurer has not done that. Our current treasurer was appointed by Governor Parson and has never run statewide or for more than just his small legislative seat in a 3-way primary in Shell Knob. So I just wanted to reach out to you guys to let you know we are working so hard for you. We have a real opportunity to flip this seat, and I'm super excited to keep working for the next couple weeks. We just have a few weeks left, and I know you are too. So thank you so much for everything you do and are about to do to help get more Democrats to turn our state blue. Thank you so much.
And now I want you to get ready for some positivity coming. You're going to hear from Ann Leach, who is the owner of the Creative Cottage here in Joplin, Missouri. This lady exudes positivity, and that's a good thing in this world of negativity that we've been experiencing lately. So relax, put yourself in a state of just let your mind be free, and hear from Ann Leach as she soothes your soul.
Hi, everybody. It's Ann Leach with AnnLeach.com. I am here in my doodle studio. I am a professional doodler as well as a life coach and therapist. And I've been asked to share some tips for getting through these really odd and tough times, right? So I've been thinking, in the interest of brevity, what is it that I would most like to see us do in these remaining days before the election? You know, in business, they talk a lot about needing to have a why, why are you in business? Why are you making these widgets? Why are you doing the work you're doing in the world? And so many people have these grandiose ideas, right? I want to save the whales. I want to save the rainforest. And those are all worthy causes, of course. However, it doesn't have to be that big. I'm grateful for the corporations that are supporting those causes and assuring our future on the planet. But I'm curious about your why. And I'm encouraging you to think about that. Why do you want what you want for our country? It might be to give your children a good future. It might be to continue to support an agency or governmental program that has helped you in your life. Whatever it is, I'd like to invite you to really give some thought to why you're involved in this work. Why are you here tonight? Okay. Once you have that clarification, then you can start to build a personal response that energizes you and yet keeps you grounded and focused at the same time. All right. The next thing I'm going to invite you to do is to use the power of affirmations. My biggest criticism, and it's only because I've experienced it myself, my biggest criticism of election years is that our egos step in and we feel the very best way to affect change or to get our point across is to bash the other candidate. I have done my share of that this year, believe me. But there's an energetic response here, okay? And we want to focus our energy toward what we do want instead of always focusing on what we don't want. So using positive affirmations can help us get clarity, express that clarity to others in a positive way without getting our ego engaged in the drama, the stress, the arguing, and frankly, just the depletion of the battery that we're trying to keep charged on a regular basis, right? So I'm going to encourage you each night from now until forever, really. I'm going to encourage you to just jot down, I am so happy and grateful that. And it can be a personal gratitude, but it could also be a personal expression of gratitude for what it is about this country that you appreciate the most. Okay? That will keep us in that energy of remembering and refining what it is we're doing this for. Okay? So positive affirmations, knowing your why. And then there's the physical response. I don't think it's any secret that everybody on the planet these days is carrying a low level of anxiety. How could we not? All of these issues coming at us, all of the drama, all of the concerns about the environment and our racial relationships, and all of it at us constantly. It's exhausting. It's exhausting and painful. So we have to do what we can to keep our physical selves in the best shape possible. Drink your water. I'm really serious about this. You know, it seems so simple, but drink more water, right? Get up in the morning with a specific routine. It might be doing your daily devotional. It might be going for a walk. Just something simple that can ground you and prepare you for the day. All right. Then at night, you're going to be doing that positive affirmation. I'm so happy and grateful that. So that kind of anchors and balances the beginning and ending of our day. Okay. You know, I alluded earlier to the idea of the battery that we're keeping charged. And I use that analogy a lot in my therapy work. If you imagine waking up every morning with a 100% fully charged battery, That's ideal, right? And that happens because our body resets, refreshes, and relaxes during sleep. Okay. So we wake up fully charged. We may not always feel like it, but we are. Yet as we go through our day, different people, experiences, requests tend to drain our charge. So it's up to us to keep our internal battery charged at about 97% throughout the day. So what would that look like? That might mean that I take a 5-minute break and I call a friend just to scream. It might mean that I make a concerted effort on that lunch period to actually go outside and go for a walk. It might mean that I have to build in some time when I get home from work to just unwind, work in my art journal, watch some useless TV. I mean, I don't know, whatever that is for you. Consider that idea of keeping your battery charged throughout the day. I don't think we can have this conversation without acknowledging social media. Talk about an energy drainer, right? Be very careful, please. I know it is so easy to get sucked in. It is so easy to want to share what we know to be true. And yet, is that really where we're going to affect change? I don't think so. It's why I've been making weekly calls for 6 years to Washington, to the senators, to everybody, really, expressing either my praise or my upset over their actions of the moment. I want to go where the people are who can make the changes I seek. And it's my right, isn't it? I mean, we have the right to do that. So be aware of asking yourself, is this post helpful? Is this response furthering a positive reaction and response to what we know to be true? Chances are it just won't be. And that is our ego stepping up and trying to take over. And it's the ego's job, right? It wants to protect us. But such an energy drainer. So really be cognizant in these coming weeks of your time on social media. I know you can throw tomatoes. I love it too. I really do. I get a lot of business off of social media, so I have to have a presence. However, I also have to protect myself, right? I also want to take just a quick moment to identify stress between family members, others who don't share our beliefs, who aren't as gung-ho as we are about our candidates, and to recognize each person is on their own path. I think that's probably the toughest part of being a parent for those of you who are. You recognize you can only guide and direct. They still are their own soul and they're making their own choices and decisions in life. So how can we respectfully step away, allow them to be who they are, and at the same time, let their words and actions simply shore up your own conviction for your beliefs, right? It's a delicate balance, I get it. But we can agree to have some boundaries, and we can set those boundaries appropriately, kindly, and effectively, all right? And I do want to go back to the idea of upset, drama, stress, and overwhelm. In all seriousness, if you are feeling that low-level anxiety that becomes more and more intense as you move through these days, by all means, reach out to your local behavioral health center. By all means, keep the crisis line number on the refrigerator. I mean, whatever it takes to get you through this, we want you here so you can continue the fight with us, all right? And unfortunately, there have been so many instances of this particular election causing that type of deep wounding and response that's needed. So for all of us, we can be aware of our friends and family. We can be that listening ear, and we can suggest that they too call for help. It's natural and normal, and frankly, to be expected during these tough times. So, okay, I think we have some good ideas here. Hopefully, I think I shared some good tips. We're going to look at what is our why? Why are we so involved? Why are we caring about this time and space in our future, right? And we're going to call that person, that organization, that group to mind. We might even go so far as to send a donation to them, to send a card of support and thanksgiving. But focus on your why. That will help you stay grounded as we move forward. We're also going to look at the impact of positive affirmations, talking about what and who we want as opposed to who and what we don't want. And then we're going to conclude each day by simply jotting down, I'm so happy and grateful that more and more people are understanding what's at stake in this election and taking appropriate action on their personal behalf. Whatever comes to your mind. We're going to look at a morning routine that's going to ground us and keep us focused so that that internal battery can stay charged up and ready to go throughout the day, because they're going to be long days. They already have been, haven't they? And as that energy starts to drain, that juice leaves the battery throughout the day, we are going to take 100% responsibility for keeping it charged up and ready to go. We're also going to take a look at our dear, dear family and friends, those who agree with us and those who don't. We're going to set appropriate boundaries if necessary, and we're going to honor and recognize their path is theirs. My only job here today is to focus on mine and do what my guidance, my gut says is right for me to do. But I am going to do that kindly and responsibly. And then I'm going to have to look at my social media. I just cannot allow myself to get sucked in, to go down the rabbit hole of negativity and drama. I'm going to instead reach out to people who can affect change. I'm going to make my voice heard in appropriate ways. And if I find I really, really do need help, I am not too proud at all to reach out to my local behavioral health center to get therapy, to consider medication, or to call the crisis line if it really becomes overwhelming and a deterrent to my personal mental health. And then I'm going to celebrate. I am going to celebrate when Joe Biden takes that podium and gives his acceptance speech. And there will be a collective sigh of relief, of thanksgiving, and of praise, right? And I'm so glad that we're going to get to do that together. I really am. You all have worked so hard for this area and this region. I am so grateful for the time you've put in, and I look forward to the wild party we're going to have. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in and for supporting this event. If I can help you in any way, please feel free to reach out. Again, visit annleach.com. I have a newsletter of helpful tips that goes out regularly, free of charge. I don't spam you. Sign up if you'd like, or just reach out to me through the messaging capabilities there or on Facebook. And, if you want to talk about all this, I'm happy to do it. I'm here for you. Okay? All right. Thanks. Bye.
We are filming portions of Digital Eleanor Roosevelt Days here at Me's Soul Food Cafe in Joplin, and we're standing not far from the location where Eleanor Roosevelt once stumped for Harry Truman on his train whistle stop tours. She had come to Joplin to stump for President Harry Truman to be reelected, and she was at the time the ambassador to the United Nations.
Make sure you go to the Facebook page and look up for the silent auction and bid on those wonderful items that are listed there. Remember, Eleanor Roosevelt Days is informational, but it's also fundraising. Next, we're going to have Joe Johnson with a little bit of sleight of hand for you. See if you can figure it out.
Welcome, Southwest Missouri Democrats. My name is Joe Johnson, and I am honored to be part of Eleanor Roosevelt Days. Eleanor Roosevelt was the longest-serving First Lady in U.S. history, and that just barely scratches the surface of everything that she accomplished during her life. One other thing about Eleanor Roosevelt is that she was a fan of magic. And so, in her honor, I would like to help show you something that I want you to also be part of. What I have here on this table is an envelope and 5 playing cards. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to show you these cards, and I want to emphasize something. At no time during this illusion will the camera angle change or be cut. This will all be taken in one shot. So what I want to do now is show you these cards, and I want you to think of one of these cards, put it in your mind, and what I'm going to try to do is guess which card I think you are thinking of. Let's take a look. We have a 10 of spades, an 8 of hearts, a 5 of clubs, a 9 of diamonds, and a 5 of diamonds. So we have the 10, the 8, the 5, the 9, and the other 5. Put one of those cards in your mind. Do you have it? Okay. Now what I'm going to do is try to decide which card I think you're thinking of. I don't think it's this one. I don't think it's either one of those two. I believe it's this one. And to show that there's nothing going to happen with the cards that are still remaining on the table, I'm going to put your card in the envelope. Now, have you got your card? Let's see if I'm right. The card I believe that you were thinking of is the 5 of diamonds. Now, some of you may be saying to yourself, I wasn't thinking of the 5 of diamonds. But for those of you that were thinking of the 5 of diamonds, I have some good news for you. There's no way you could have gotten it wrong. Like I said at the beginning, there were no camera tricks involved in this. As a matter of fact, if I was going to do something with a camera trick, it would probably be something like this.
Rich Finneran grew up in St. Louis County and served as an assistant U.S. attorney for the Missouri Eastern District from 2010 to 2017. He currently works at a St. Louis law firm and teaches law at his alma mater, Washington University.
Hi, Southwest Missouri Dems. Sorry that I can't be with you all in person. I'm actually on the road in Fulton, Missouri today. But I'm so excited to have the chance to talk to you virtually, as we're all having to do far too often this election cycle. My name is Rich Finneran. I'm the Democratic candidate for Missouri Attorney General. You may recall meeting me back if you were at the Southwest Dems Trivia Night in February. I was there with Yinka. That was one of the last great public events that we all got to do before the pandemic started. And I was so impressed then with the amount of energy and engagement that you all showed at such an early stage in our campaigns. And I'm so excited now to be less than 30 days away from the end of it and to be coming across the finish line with all of you. It's been a very unusual year, to say the least. And that's not just true for me as a political candidate. I know that's true for all of you as well. This pandemic has affected people in so many different ways. And I know from the hours and thousands of hours of phone calls that I've done and the meetings I've had and the events I've gone to, even during this time, I know that it has dramatically affected so many people's lives. And I know that's true of so many people who are watching here today. So the first thing I want you to know is that I hear you, I see you, I know what you're going through, and I am committed to being an attorney general who's going to fight for you once I'm elected, not just on this issue, but on so many other important issues that are going on in our state. And probably the one that you probably heard me talk about before, but it's still the most important one, is the fact that my opponent, Eric Schmidt, is still today using our taxpayer dollars to pursue a lawsuit in the Supreme Court of the United States that would take out the Affordable Care Act. And he's doing it in the midst of a global pandemic. He's spending our tax money to try to take away our coverage for pre-existing conditions, to try to make it so that our kids, so many of them who are stuck at home right now and not able to go to school or to head off to college, are not necessarily going to be able to stay on their parents' health insurance until the age of 26. He's pursuing this lawsuit, which would mean that prescription drug costs for seniors could potentially go up. And even after we all told him what we wanted by voting for Medicaid expansion by a massive margin back in August, he is pursuing this lawsuit, which, if he wins, would eliminate Medicaid expansion not just here in Missouri, but all across the country. And that's what he is spending his time in office doing. It's not what I think any attorney general should be doing. It's not an issue that really should be even beyond the attorney general's plate, but it's what he's spending his time on, and it's what we have to vote him out of office in order to try to stop. You know, Eric Schmidt didn't get any of our votes for attorney general because he didn't run for attorney general. He was appointed to the job by our unelected governor, Mike Parson. So he's our unelected attorney general who was appointed by our unelected governor, who's using our court system to pursue policies that none of us voted for, and frankly, none of us want. So now it's up to all of us. We have to do what we can to make sure that Eric Schmidt and the rest of these Republicans get voted out of office coming up in November. And we've got so little time left, but there's still so much that we have to do in order to get there. So I know that many people who are watching right now are already actively engaged in my or another of the statewide campaigns. And for everything that you're doing, thank you. You are the reason that we're able to run these races is because of people like you who are sticking with us, and even in these challenging times are finding new ways to reach people and new ways to help out. But for those of you who are looking to find ways to get engaged, let me give you a couple of ideas. So first of all, we've always heard about the importance of word of mouth. But in this time of global crisis, it's more important than ever that we're reaching out to people to talk to them about the importance of voting. Obviously, it's easier now than it was to vote. You can have a ballot mailed to you, but it's also more confusing than it ever has been. A lot of people don't understand the difference between mail-in and absentee, or no excuse mail-in and when you need a notary. But you are the informed people who can help make those people understand the rules so they can follow them and have their voices counted. Also, we're doing phone banking. We're doing other kinds of text outreach to try to make sure we're connecting with people and reminding them about the importance of voting. I know that so many people are despondent over the way that our country is going, the way this pandemic has gone, so many other issues, but we've got to reach out to them and let them know that we think it's important that their voice is heard. So those are just a couple of ideas. I know that you're all probably working on your own projects to help us come across the finish line, but whatever you do, please don't let up off the gas these last 30 days. We have an unusually good opportunity in Missouri here to turn things around, and we need your help to do it. I'm not going to stop fighting. I'm going to be working overtime. Trust me, these next 30 days to get it all done. And I'm so proud to have you all alongside me. I hope that when things clear up again, I'll be back out there again for your next trivia night. We'll be able to celebrate getting this state back.
Yinka Folity is the Democratic nominee running against Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. He graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point and served 6 years of active duty with the United States Army. Also, 2 deployments to Kuwait. After his military career, Fallaty moved to St. Louis and attended the Washington University School of Law. He privately practiced as an attorney and then as a state prosecutor. Fallaty formerly served as the director of Forward Through Ferguson, the nonprofit successor to the Ferguson Commission. He stepped down from the position so he could run for Secretary of State.
If you don't speak English and don't contribute, get out.
Ignorance and immigrants, they mix together. They're talking about me. For some reason, I'm the person they don't want, but they don't even know my story. I stepped off that plane at JFK when I was 7 years old and began my American journey. Our family moved to where the jobs were. So growing up, we moved a lot, finally settling in Texas. I was fortunate to attend the Texas Academy of Math and Science before being accepted to the United States Military Academy at West Point. What happened that day is something I'll never forget. A building full of other candidates, all waiting to interview with Congressman Joe Barton, and they chose me. As an immigrant kid who'd become a U.S. citizen, I was headed to West Point. I was so excited, but nothing was handed to me. I earned this. We deployed to Kuwait, 2 tours, first to keep Saddam Hussein in check. The second was after 9/11, when I served as battle captain in our battalion headquarters. I've never been more proud to serve my country. Law school brought me to Missouri. I practiced first in private practice and then as a state prosecutor. It was gratifying work, but I knew that if I wanted to help even more people, I had to get further upstream. United Way and Forward Through Ferguson were next, where I led teams that ran towards some of the most pressing problems families are facing. And now, I'm running for Secretary of State of Missouri. We're better than that crowd of hate and vitriol. We ought to be expanding voting opportunities, not limiting them. And we ought to be protecting the ballot initiative petition process, as it's one of the best in the country. I am ready. I don't back down from challenges, and I won't let that crowd get me down. Join me in this campaign, because together, we can do great things for Missouri. Hi, my name is Yinka Fallaty. I'm the Democratic nominee running for voter inclusion and working against Jay Ashcroft's voter suppression. I'm the Democratic nominee for Missouri Secretary of State. I'm running so that every eligible Missourian, no matter their political persuasion, can vote without unnecessary barriers, without having to jump through hoops to vote, without all of the unnecessary confusion and complexity around voting, and without needing a flowchart to vote in Missouri. I also want to ensure that we have fair language for and fair access to the ballot initiative process. This is the process that has given us Medicaid expansion, Clean Missouri, beat back right to work, raise the minimum wage, and more. There's so much we can do to make voting easier and more accessible for all eligible Missourians, including automatic voter registration for our rising 18-year-olds, no excuse absentee voting to allow for increased early and advanced voting, vote by mail, free from a notary mandate, increased number of polling places, the ability to vote at any polling place, not just the one assigned, and universal registration in Missouri. You register once in Missouri and you're registered always in Missouri, no matter how many times you move within the state. And finally, robust voter education and assistance. I ask for your vote this November, and if you're able to, I ask for your vote earlier by vote by mail, and if you're able to, an absentee voting. Please check your registration now and make sure you're registered, and check on 10 of your friends and ask them to do the same. Let's get rid of Jay Ashcroft and his voter suppressive ways. Let's create the Missouri we deserve, the Missouri we want to see. Thank you.
Well, hello. This is Alicia Kennedy. I'm your Democratic nominee for Missouri Lieutenant Governor, and I'm so excited to be able to celebrate with you guys for Eleanor Roosevelt Days. There are so many things that are going on right now in this political climate, but the fact that you guys have stayed engaged and have come along to this point says that you get what's at stake, what's on the menu, and what is at risk. It's not just a presidential election. It's not just a gubernatorial election. Democracy, dignity, civility, freedoms for all Missourians, access to health care, economic equality, improving education outcomes, supporting small, all that is what's on the ballot in a few days. And I am thankful to have each and every one of you all that are helping to push our campaigns along to make sure that we have a blue wave on November the 3rd. And when we talk about what the blue wave is going to consist of, it's going to consist of men and women like many of you all that are watching me talk right now, that are having these invasive conversations with your friends and family. And what does that mean, Alicia, invasive conversations? It means that we are going to ask people that we know, what's your voting plan? Because we're not going to just take for granted they're going to show up and vote. We're going to share with them how we're voting. I'm voting the Democratic ticket all the way down because I need leadership who believes in science, that's going to put the health and public welfare in front of their own business and political interests. I need leadership who supports expanding Medicaid and making affordable health care available to all Missourians. I need leadership that's culturally competent and is understanding of the social and civil issues of the day. I need leadership who believes in making sure people have access to the ballot box and are going to not put roadblocks in place to keep you from suppressing your vote. We need leadership at the local level that's going to engage us and be our eyes and ears and listen to us when they go to Jefferson City. And so we're sharing with our friends and family who those people are. We're sharing on our social media platforms because they're watching your page to see who you support. We're sharing our conversation. And more importantly, we're sharing our time and our talents. And so for those of you guys that volunteer for campaigns, thank you so much. Those of you all have given money, thank you so much. All of it has made a big difference. But one thing that I am so impressed upon as we recognize Eleanor Roosevelt is something I shared when I was in the thick of things politically. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? What would you do? Would you go talk to 5 more people if you knew that they would vote the Democratic ticket down ballot? Would you talk to 10 more people, 20 more people? Would you knock 50 more doors? Then that's what we need to do to make sure that we don't fail. We've got to believe, we've got to put in the work, and we've got to share our excitement with others because they're watching us, and anything is possible if we put our minds to it and put our efforts behind it. But I'm so excited to be working alongside with many of you all to deliver on the commitments that Missourians are asking for. This is a dynamic ticket with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Nicole Galloway and Rich Finneran and Yinka Falati and Vicki England and myself. This is the most diverse ticket I can recall in Missouri history. And I think it's one that reflects the values and as well as the diversity of Missouri. So thank you guys for showing up for us. Thank you guys for sharing your platforms and your time and your talents with us. And more importantly, thank you for getting out to vote on November the 3rd, and keep up the good work.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rural Chapel.
Good evening. I'm Rural Chapel. John Dillon and I are thrilled to have our new music video entitled As We Rise included in tonight's presentation. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "It is better to light a candle than curse the darkness." Truth and compassion must win November 3rd, so please vote. Vote blue all the way down the ballot. You may still vote in person, absentee, at your county clerk's office. Now here is As We Rise. Late last night as I lay sleeping, I floated up inside a dream. I could hear some children weeping I could hear some people scream. I could see the world below me, thousands marching in the heat. There were cries of anguish everywhere, echoing through the streets. Then a man came up beside me and saw the sadness in my eyes. He said, the answer is so simple, and I will show you as we rise. We must tear down every barricade and open every door to the shelter of forgiveness and end this raging war. 'Cause we all share the same world, the same heart, the same skin. We are all part of the same love that never ends. We are the same. As we rise, circles of truth and understanding will forever be expanding, helping all of us to heal. As we rise, let our diversity unite us. The flame of love ignite us and burn through the steel of hate and lies. As we rise, it will get easier to breathe as we rise above the fray, and we can see the path before us and the price that has been paid by the ones no longer with us, all those generations lost. We must bring the victory home for them, no matter what the cost. 'Cause we all share the same world, the same heart, the same skin. We are all part of the same love that never ends. We are the same. As we rise, circles of truth and understanding will forever be expanding, helping all of us to heal. As we rise, let our diversity unite us. The flame of love ignite us and burn through the steel of hate and lies. As we rise, circles of truth and understanding will forever be expanding, helping all of us to heal. As we rise, let our diversity unite us. The flame of love ignite us and burn through the steel of hate and lies. As we rise, let the flames of love ignite us and burn through the steel of hate and lies. As we rise.
Coming up, we're going to have a conversation with Nanda Nunnally. She is the president of the Minnehackney Community Center here in Joplin, Missouri. She's also the chair of the Democratic Committee of McDonald County, and she is the representation, one of 3 Missouri representations for the Democratic National Committee. This lady wears a lot of hats to serve on as a Southwest Missouri Democrat. And so now we're excited to be talking with Nanda Nunnally, who's going to have an in-depth conversation about kind of what Eleanor Roosevelt Days is and why it's important. And so give us some insight on that.
Thank you, Melody. So Eleanor Roosevelt Days is one of our major fundraisers for Southwest Missouri Democrats. It helps fund money that we are able to spend to help candidates, and also to pay for our executive director. We are so very lucky to have an executive director in our areas. Many areas do not have that, and this is one way that we help fund that. So I'm very excited about Eleanor Roosevelt Days. You know, Eleanor Roosevelt is one of my favorite people, not only because she worked for suffrage, but also because she worked for racial equality. You know, that's...
Did she do something right here in Missouri? Did this anything here?
A connection to Missouri.
Okay.
So, Eleanor Roosevelt was very instrumental in making sure that Marian Anderson, one of the greatest singers of all times, was able to use her voice to benefit the community. You know, back in 1939, the Daughters of the American Revolution, they would not allow Marian Anderson to sing in Congressional Hall, the hall they had there. And so Eleanor Roosevelt gave up her membership to the Daughters of the American Revolution and then had her sing at the Lincoln Memorial Hall.
Wow.
And so several years later, Marian Anderson came to Joplin and performed at Memorial Hall.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she said was that that black people had to be allowed to come and hear her as well. And so they opened up the mezzanine there, and black people were allowed to come in and hear her sing as well. So I love that connection to our community from Eleanor Roosevelt.
And that's a way that she helped women,
Yes.
not only women, but black women also.
Yes, that's right. She was very involved with women's suffrage. You know, 100 years ago, women received the right to vote. Now let's be specific here. White women had the right to vote. It was, many years later. Indigenous women, it was about 4 years later. And then for all black women to have the right to vote, we know was not until the Civil Rights Act in the 60s. So, but yes, Eleanor Roosevelt is known for so many things. She's just a fabulous woman. And so we do this every year, not only to honor her, but to honor Democrats in our area and to always work towards the things that she represented.
That's good. That's good. And you can kind of say you're following in those footsteps and doing a lot with, as a Southwest Missouri Democrat, you are opening doors for a lot of opportunities. I guess we could say a lot of opportunities for not only people of color, but women to step into roles that are leadership roles.
Yeah. Well, I count you as one of those people as well, as being, you know, the first black mayor in the city of Joplin. I was the first chair of the congressional district. Right. There's a lot of firsts, especially for black women. Now we know that black women have always led the party.
Absolutely.
They haven't been the face of the party, but they've always led it. And so, anyways, I do think that, especially this year, as a representative of the Democratic National Committee, our delegates this year, for the first time ever, they chose 3 people to represent the state of Missouri, all of which are black.
Wow.
The first time ever. And so there's changes happening.
Yeah.
There's changes happening. Our voice needs to be heard, has to be heard.
Absolutely.
And so we're seeing that, I think, start to happen.
I like that. It's like there are more, and like we said before, it takes us all. It takes us all to make these things happen. So I guess anybody who can and who are willing to take up the charge and keep the progress going. Get in contact with the Emily Newell Blair, get in contact with the Eleanor Roosevelt Day Committee, get in contact with the Southwest Missouri Democrats, and find out how you can get plugged in.
Yes.
That's
exactly right. Exactly right.
Well, thank you for that, Ms. Nanda.
Well, thank you
appreciate
so
that.
much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Melody.
I am so honored to introduce our special guest. She is a nurse, she is an activist, she is a mom, and she is well on her way to being our first black congresswoman from the state of Missouri. My friend, Cori Bush.
Hello, I am so glad to be here with you today, supporting the work of Southwest Missouri Democrats. Why are fundraisers like this so important? As a grassroots candidate myself, let me tell you, it is not easy running a campaign. Oftentimes, we have to make a little, stretch a long way And it takes real resources to do the kind of work that we need to do in this country. The work of making sure that every single person is heard, counted, and empowered in our political process. To support Southwest Missouri Dems, you can make a donation right now, and you'll be done by the time I'm done talking to you. The funds raised today will make a huge difference to candidates and communities that need it tomorrow. And let's be honest, it's our responsibility to invest in candidates with a vision who will give people something to vote for again. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard from voters across St. Louis and in communities across the state that they've lost hope and faith in our government. In the last 2 decades, we've all experienced 2 of the worst global recessions in recent history. Personally, I've survived my own COVID-19 experience while uninsured in a pandemic. I've watched our government work harder to protect billionaires than to protect me and my 2 kids while I was unhoused. We are experiencing a public health crisis of violent racism emboldened by police and a president who thinks law and order is more important than freedom. And my generation has lived through unprecedented natural disasters over and over again. These are not small things. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We are in a history-making moment, and how we choose to rise to this moment will define our future for generations to come. So, we need representatives who will fight tooth and nail for the needs of all people in their communities. We need representatives who will speak up, show up, and stand up for the principles that protect everyday people. And let's be honest, with Donald Trump seated in the White House and a Supreme Court vacancy, it's all on the line this November. It is not enough for all of us to simply be not Trump. It's time to reclaim our heart and run on the values that make Democrats the party that actually represents all of us in America. We are here today at this fundraiser honoring Eleanor Roosevelt. And you know, she said something that I believe in wholeheartedly. She said that nothing has ever been achieved by the person that says it can't be done. We have to believe in ourselves, in our communities, and the power that we have collectively. That's exactly why our tireless work to elect Democrats in Missouri up and down the ballot, from your local state rep to the President of the United States, is part of our commitment to putting anti-racism work into practice. We've got to fight. Missouri, we've got to fight, because I'm telling you now, this is our moment. Thank you.
Nicole Galloway has served as the Missouri State Auditor since 2015 and is our candidate for governor.
Growing up, I never thought I'd be running to be your governor. I was raised in Fenton in a family that set its roots in Missouri generations ago for the same reasons so many others did. My parents taught me what all Missourians should expect. If you keep your head down and do the hard work, your opportunities will come. Back then, Missouri promised a wage that could support your family, a community that cared for one another, and the chance to get ahead. But now, Missouri's promise is going unfulfilled. Unemployment has reached record highs. Healthcare costs are rising, and too many Missourians are falling behind. All while the Jefferson City establishment wastes your money on the well-connected. All while saying we can't afford the programs like Medicaid expansion that help Missourians get ahead. Well, my family taught me that every dollar spent is a choice made. Each line in our state budget shows who and what our state values. I say it's past time that we value Missouri's schools, Missouri's economy, and Missouri's people before all else. It burns me up when I see our government wasting your tax dollars on kickbacks for insiders and political mega donors. I uncovered over $350 million in government fraud and abuse through audits that helped bring 60 criminal counts against corrupt public officials, both Democrats and Republicans. You worked hard for your money. It's about time it worked hard for you. Join us, and let's bring a new way to Jefferson City.
Hey there, Southwest Missouri Dems. I hope you are enjoying Eleanor Roosevelt Days, and I'm so excited to see you all in Lawrence County on the 18th and in Joplin on the 19th. If you'd like to join us, just visit NicoleGalloway.com/events to learn more, and don't forget to bring a mask.
Thank you for joining us for the Eleanor Roosevelt Days digital event. We hope you enjoyed it, and this is your last reminder before we leave to go to our Facebook page and bid. Get your bid in on the silent auction. We hope to see you next year, and remember, vote blue, vote November the 3rd.